Hands-on learning doesn't get much more hands-on than when you have to make sure your lateral line is tight, straight, and downhill. Students from Vermont technical schools and career centers did just that at this Maple Career Development Event, or CDE. Lynn Wolf from Shelburne Farms is one of the organizers.
A career development event it's basically a contest or a competition where students have been studying a particular area. In this case, it is sugaring and maple syrup and production. There are a lot of schools that have really robust sugaring programs, and Vermont is the leading producer of maple syrup in the United States. And there was never a CDE for maple syrup, for sugaring. So we created the Maple CDE a few years ago to just highlight this growing industry in our state.
In addition to working in the woods, students tested their taste buds by grading maple syrup on color, clarity, density, and flavor, which is all in a day's work for Holly Raymond.
It's a lot easier when you have the samples and stuff already there for you. So it's not the hardest thing to do, but it's difficult if you don't know what you're talking about. I'm a hands-on learner, so if I'm just sitting looking at a screen the whole time doing stuff, I get really antsy and I have to be moving, so hands-on is really nice, I guess.
Raymond graduates from Cold Hollow Career Center in Enosburg Falls this year and plans to attend CCV as a business major. Today's competition proved to her that she and her classmates were up for the challenge.
I think we did pretty good because we've worked together for the last 2 years doing this kind of stuff, so we kind of knew our strengths and our weaknesses were.
So good. Oh, she's flowing.
I like the community that we have, the group that we've built over the last 2 years. It's gonna be hard not having that to go to every single day.
Hunter Marcy is one of Raymond's classmates at Cold Hollow Career Center.
My whole team knew what they were doing because we do it quite often in class, so I liked it, of course, besides the rain.
His career as a sugar maker is in the beginning stages, but Marcy has already learned a valuable lesson about farming.
I still feel like I'm learning everything, something new every year, whether I'm working by myself or with someone new.
Mark Reichart teaches forestry and natural resources at Stafford Technical Center in Rutland. He brought his team to the competition to test their knowledge and see how they do under pressure.
My advice when we came in was for them to really focus on the stuff that they knew, and that's what I'm interested in knowing, what they know, not so much what they don't know. So, I've been impressed and happy with the way that they've performed so far.
Reichart believes that technical education acts as an economic engine because of its ties to Vermont's rural economy and working landscape.
I think one of the cool things about the natural resources and agriculture fields in Vermont is how connected everything is. And it's really important that natural resource managers are working closely with loggers, and loggers are working closely with sugar makers, and sometimes sugar makers are loggers. So, all those things are connected. So when we're talking about sugaring, we really look at it through all of those lenses, like what are the landscape benefits, what is the role of it in Vermont's economy, in Vermont's forest landscape, in the tourism economy. How are all those pieces connected, and what are some of the opportunities there?
Wolf hopes this competition shows students how the skills and education they've learned in class gives them advantages to compete in the real world.
There's all sorts of things that people can do after they graduate high school, and college is just one of those things. And there's a lot of sugar makers out there that have gone to college, but we also want to create a skill set, or really support a skill set that these students are trying to achieve, so they can graduate high school and enter the workforce. Sugaring is still a growing industry in Vermont, and there are jobs out there, and we want to make sure that these young people are trained and have the skills to enter that if that's what they choose to do.
Working the woods while learning about Vermont's working landscape. It's all in a day's work for these students. In Randolph, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.